Tell me what's good, tell me what's nice. Keeping it cool, keeping it calm, keeping it light. Time to rejoice. What's good, what's good, what's good with John and Joyce.
All right, Kahseim, welcome back.
Thank you.
In case you're just tuning in for the first time, we had so
him.
much fun the first time. We actually invited him back, and it was just great. We're going to be talking about food. I'd like to say a big thank you to all of our sponsors. Woodwinds Wedding and Special Events Venue and Silvio Sauces, thewoodwinds.com. Ascend Bank. They don't just see your accounts, they see your vision and ambitions. Ascend.bank. Linda Toscano of Caldwell Banker Realty in Guilford, Connecticut. With over 17 years of experience, Linda is known for her authentic, client-focused approach and expert guidance for buyers and sellers. Now, if you're thinking about making a move, Linda Toscano is someone you can trust. We're deeply grateful to all of our sponsors for their support and for partnering with us to uplift and enrich the lives of our listeners and viewers. But Kahseim is a joyful and positive man, and those of you who saw the first episode know that for a fact. He has passion for inspiring and motivating other people to be the best version of themselves. In addition to being a full-time dad and husband, he's a somatic practitioner, say that 10 times fast, wellness educator, yoga instructor, a mindfulness practitioner, and author of We Are Enough. You've got to get this for your kids, but it's also great for adults as well. All right?
You are enough.
You are enough,
Yes.
all right?
Yeah.
And the book resonates deeply with readers of all ages, inspiring both young minds and adult hearts all around the world. Welcome to What's Good with John and Joyce, and here we are. This is What's Good right now.
back.
Kahseim, you're
It's all
back.
good.
All right.
All right, we're going to be talking food, but I have to kick this off because you're vegan.
Mm-hmm.
You're carnivorous.
Well, I'm more like keto.
Keto carnivorous. I am so lucky to be sitting here with these two very handsome, very fit men.
Is she talking about us?
I think so.
Yeah.
There's nobody around us.
But yet, you both have very different diets. So I'd love to talk about that. And Kahseim, I saw where someone asked you recently something about protein, and you said you don't really count that much, but so a lot of people, and I'm vegetarian. So the biggest question I know that I get is, how do you get your protein, Joyce?
Yeah.
So let's talk about how you get your protein.
Well, it's funny because we've kind of been brainwashed, I think, to think about this one macronutrient as opposed, no one ever comes up to you and say, where do you get your fats? Where do you get your fiber?
That's
Where do you
true.
get your potassium?
That's true.
We isolated this one thing. So there's been a lot of marketing around it over the years because there's money to be made. There's different protein powders. There's protein in water. I've seen it. It's kind of ridiculous at this point.
Yep.
But no one is protein deficient. If you look at any case around the world, you won't find somebody, unless they're starving, which means they're just malnourished, right? So I personally choose not to focus on that. There's been times in my life when I did. I used to work at GNC. I used to be 20 pounds heavier than I am now with muscle. I work out all the time. I'd be taking all these things. And then I realized I really don't need it. And this has been kind of the path that I've been along. So now I just make sure I try to eat the rainbow. I try to get as much of a diverse, option of foods in my diet as I can. And it tends to work out. I feel pretty good. If I had some instances where I wasn't feeling good, then I would explore it and say, well, maybe I need to up this and see how it looks or up that. But at the moment, I'm pretty good.
So your wife and your child?
Yes. My son was really the impetus for us to live this lifestyle. I started it as a challenge back in January 1st of 2015. I used to do all these weird food challenges. I would go a month eating this or a month not eating that. So I said, let me try this raw diet. So I started on January 1st, and I said, I'm going to make it for the month.
10th anniversary.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah. So what I did was I made it for about 2 weeks, and I wanted to chew my own hand off. Right?
You're gonna get your protein.
Yeah. So I'm doing all the typical mistakes people do when they go vegan. I'm eating nothing but salads and some fruits and stuff. But this is January. It's freezing. I'm craving something different. So then I started to do some cooked foods. I did the pastas, the rices, the beans, and the different things. Incorporating that, I found out wow, this is pretty good. I'm satiated. I feel good about this. And then it just stuck. And now this January it'll be 11 years. And my son has been that way ever since he's been born. And
that's true.
It's something that's worked for us. Sometimes people will try these things and they'll go back and they'll say, no, it wasn't for me.
Right.
But I think over a decade, I've kind of put it to the test for myself. And I'm like, I think I can ride this out. And it's it's taken some different turns. Like it went from just being a challenge to then being about health, and then a deep dive into the research around this. And then it became a spiritual thing. Like, okay, well, if I can live this way, that's in harmony more with the natural world, and maybe that's the way to go. You know?
And then your wife came along on the journey, or was she already thinking about
she was
that?
about 6 months after me when she started to transition Atlas from breast milk into soft foods and stuff. She couldn't think about giving him another mother's milk, right? So she started looking at, we got the cheesecloth. We're, doing almond milk and different milks at home. And then it just kind of went from there. Fed him nothing but sauteed or smashed up vegetables and stuff. We made our own baby food essentially, and he's super healthy and
what a great
huge.
name, Atlas.
Thank
I
you.
love
His,
it.
Kahseim's son's name is Atlas.
Atlas Outlaw.
Yeah,
Is that a
no
great
middle name. We
It's
couldn't
so
think of
cool.
something cool enough to put in between it, so it's just that.
When you mentioned, mother's milk, and it reminded me, I was a very sickly child. By the time I was 9 months old, I was hospitalized, and I can remember going to different doctors. There were a lot of digestive problems I was having, and it wasn't until I was around 30 that this wonderful Indian doctor at Yale looked at me and he said, "Has anyone ever tested you for being lactose intolerant?" And all the tests I went through, no one ever did that. And he said, over a certain age, there is no need to be drinking milk from, milk.
Yeah,
Never mind milk from an animal.
yeah.
And my life just changed for the better. And I was very lactose intolerant. I was like on the floor with pain once you had to drink that and wait 3 hours. And once I got rid of dairy, boy, did my life improve.
Yeah.
So, but everyone has their own journey in finding this out. So, I mean, you're both, like I said, so extraordinarily healthy and in great shape. But John, you eat differently, and you also fast. I don't know if you do fasting.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. It's kind of built into my schedule right now, so it's not something I really have to think about.
Right.
But I've done intentional fast before when I feel like I need it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. I switched my diet 10 years ago, so I was 35. Right, I'm going to be 45 in a couple months.
This guy's ancient. Huh?
I'll
take that
I know,
age.
I'm giving away all the secrets, but I ate everything. Like you name it. I don't think there's an animal that I haven't eaten. My dad used to bring me to game dinners and stuff, so we would try all sorts of stuff. And I just looked at myself in that way, taking everything in. And it's only been relatively recently where I kind of stepped aside from that and just tried this different way. But even at that point, I felt pretty good. I felt healthy. I never had any nagging ailments or anything that I would attribute to my diet.
Right.
But I think it's probably because I ate all the good stuff and all the bad stuff. So if you get the right things in, you can live a certain way and not really pay,
That's right.
so to speak.
That's right.
But if you're doing all the bad things and none of the good things, now we start to see other problems.
Sure.
Yeah, that's very true.
And I say good and bad, but no judgment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, ask the key, no judgment.
Yeah.
Because there are so many different ways to get there. It's like with your style and what you're doing. I admire that.
Thank you.
And the bottom line is, like, Joyce knows me well enough. I'm not judgmental with that thing. You're healthy. You're doing great. It obviously works for you.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody likes the same food or the TV shows or whatever it may be. It doesn't make them bad or good. It's just your choice.
Yeah.
But you're
And
making
it
the
works,
best
whatever
choices.
works for you.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're sitting there and looking all weak and everything and saying, I'm a vegetarian, but some people will say that to me. Well, you can't just be a vegetarian because of that. And
Why not?
But I honestly look at some of them who are way younger than me. They got a lot more problems within their body, and so it works for me.
Yes.
And I've been that since a teenager. That's when I stopped eating meat, eating chicken, and it was for reasons that I loved animals. I just one day I was just this enlightenment came over me, and I looked at the chicken on the table
I know.
and I said, I can't do this.
Yeah.
There's got to be alternatives. And my first little book I bought was called Diet for a Small Planet.
Okay.
And it was a vegetarian little cookbook. And I learned how to soak the beans and grind things and make my own veggie patties and all of that. And I remember having a party and serving what looked like Swedish meatballs. They weren't. They weren't meatballs. And everyone loved it. And they didn't believe it when I told them that, no, it's really ground nuts and cottage cheese and, whatever, herbs I put in there.
Yeah. My wife
So-
made deviled eggs one time for a party, and it was little, I can't remember what the little potatoes are called, but she hollowed them out and then made this little whipped, yolk, so to speak. You put it in.
Yes.
They were delicious,
Yeah,
and
yep.
nobody knew the difference, really.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, I love a lot of that myself too.
Yeah.
I keep an open mind.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff.
Yeah, I always like the taste of eggs. I can never do eggs. It just really bothers my stomach.
Yeah.
I'm vegan. That's why I say I'm not vegan. I'm vegetarian. So that if egg is in something, I mean, I eat it.
You
But
can
if I
still
eat
have it,
eggs
yeah.
alone, just,
It'll do a number on you.
it does a number on my stomach. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you kind of put yourself through a master class, right? And you're still in it, learning along the way.
I
And
am.
That's right. It's
Yeah.
all
We're
part of
all-
the journey.
We're all in that master class.
Yeah.
So you do fasting.
I do. Intermittent fasting, I started about 1.5 years ago, and it's done wonders for my body. I mean, because like you, when I was big, I was competing. I may compete again in a couple of years. It was more like a gymnast look because I've always kept it really, really strict and natural with everything I do. But, about 1.5 years ago, I started intermittent fasting. I love it. And what I'll do is I'll do a 24-hour fast 1 day a week, typically an 18-6 split.
Yep.
But I'll do 16-8. I'll do 24-hour, keep it predictably unpredictable. I'll feast maybe once or twice a week because your body gets into a settling mode. And I want it to go, ooh, I got to crank it up a little bit. So when I feast, I end up actually losing a little bit of weight in many cases if I go like an extra 2 or 3 meals once or twice a week. But I'm really, really big on high protein. And I get my proteins from my fish. A lot of fish. I eat a lot of red meat. I find that that's really good about helping with inflammation in the human body, and I'm just a really big fan of that. And it works for me. I'll eat chicken. I'll eat tons of vegetables, steamed, organic.
Yep.
Fruits when they're in season.
Yeah.
I want to make sure there's organic honey that's indigenous to this area because it's great for the immune system as well. And lots of water. I wake up first thing in the morning. I have my water with filtered water with Celtic salt in it.
Yep. Same.
Then I'll have my black coffee after because the acidity is not going to affect my stomach as much after I've had that. And then I'll have maybe 2 or 3 big giant glasses of water. And then I'll have my first meal, usually 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
But I'm finding out when I work out in a fasted state, it's really good for me. I'm more clear-headed. I have more energy, less brain fog. It's counterintuitive to the average person,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it just really worked for me. And since last year, I've lost maybe 20, 25 pounds, leaner, and stronger and
Yeah.
fitter.
Probably feeling more resilient.
More
in a lot of
resilient
ways.
in so many ways.
Yeah.
And it's really been noticeable to people around. They go, whoa, man, you look really good. You really leaned out. Not that you looked bad before, but it looks better.
Yeah. Yeah.
But more importantly, health-wise, on the inside, all my doctor appointments are like, they say, you got the body of a 30-year-old. 35. What are you doing? Your numbers are perfect in every way.
Yeah. He should be sitting down and you giving him the lecture.
Right. Same with you and Joyce, the same thing.
Yeah.
We're all in the same fraternity here, so to speak. We just have different ways of getting there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
to be
that's
totally
it.
transparent, my problem was if I had to go out there and kill
Mm.
the game to eat it, I would probably be a vegan or a vegetarian. I would not be able to kill that chicken. He'd be my buddy, my pet.
Yeah. Yes.
And I have to admit that, or a cow or something.
Yeah.
I would not be able to do it. I couldn't do it.
You're not alone in that sentiment. Someone's just mentioned this. They said if people had to go out and like catch and butcher
I couldn't
their
do
own
it.
food, like we'd all be.
I'd be a vegan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be a vegan
Yeah.
vegetarian without question. And I admit that.
And you would be the best one. You would
Yeah.
find things that
Oh, yeah.
you would teach us that you found.
Because I think what you do, there's a lot of merit to that. Both you and Joyce to know, and I really admire that. I've chosen a different road right now that works for me. Like you said, you have to go work, but I admire it. I don't say like, oh, my ways. No, don't. I don't like that self-righteous attitude.
Listen, we all came from the same place. We're all going to the same place.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
while we're here together, we gotta
Amen.
enjoy it and
Yes.
treat each other with some kindness. and some
Absolutely. Show respect.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
You talked about fasting, though. I think a lot of people would benefit from that. Maybe not even a formal type of fasting, but just giving themselves a break. Like
Yes.
we have breakfast, then we have a snack, then we have lunch, then we have a snack, then we have dinner, and then we have dessert. And just it's an overload, right?
Yes.
I tell my students all the time, like if I gave you a homework assignment that you didn't finish and you showed up first thing in the morning and I gave you another assignment and said, start that. And you're like, wait a minute, I didn't finish that.
Right.
That's kind of what we're doing to our digestive systems. And
Yeah.
when we do that with toxins and with things that are overloaded with preservatives and all
Sure.
those all sorts of stuff, it becomes too much. We get overwhelmed.
Especially in the American culture right now. Our food is just loaded with cheap preservatives to keep them on the shelves longer.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'd rather pay a little extra money and get organic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, go organic. We clean all of our vegetables, our fruits, and make sure we make the best choices. If we're going to get the beef, it's going to be grass-fed, no hormones. You know, none of this stuff. You get the best choices, and I'd rather pay now than pay later.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we're going to make those best choices for
100%.
ourselves.
And being mindful about that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Shopping
yes.
with an intention of health.
Yes.
Yep. The outer parts of the supermarket, staying
Yeah.
away
Oh,
from
yeah.
the inner aisles.
Yeah.
We don't even go in there.
No.
No way. No way.
You know, talking about fasting, the most I do is 3 days. And every once in a while, I do it. And by the second, especially the third day, I have so much energy.
Yes.
My mind is so clear. And I do things around the house like, oh, I think I'm going to, you know, recreate some space over here, move this over here, do that. And it's just amazing because people think they're going to be sluggish and they're going to be sleeping and hungry. But I've always felt that way from years ago. I used to fast every Monday, you know, kind of eat what I wanted on Sunday. And then Monday, I would just let my body rest. But by the second day, it was like I would say to people, I don't know, it's like cobwebs are out of my brain. Like I'm thinking so much clearer.
Where's the health teacher coming out of me? So like when a lot of people think we get energy from the food. And it's not entirely true because when you eat, right, you got to have blood that goes to your digestive system and it takes it away from your muscles, from your brain, from all the other systems to kind of make that happen. So when you're not eating, right, then you're in kind of survival mode. And whatever you want to do, whatever you think, like you put your mind to it, you want to do it, your body's going to have all the energy to support that because it's thinking what we're doing now is to help us stay alive and survive and thrive. This is why when you eat, like what's the next thing you want to do? You want to sit back, you want to lay down,
Oh,
like, take a nap.
Like after that
The
Thanksgiving meal, what do you do?
Yeah, like
go
even
into a
like
food
the
coma.
lions on the savannah, they go gorge and then they sleep for
sleep.
2 days. They're just laid out in
You're
the sun,
right.
right?
Right.
So I think mindfully snacking, mindfully eating, right? If you need some stimulation, you need something inside of you to kind of satiate you, to go do the work that you're going to do. But most of the time, we can do it with nothing.
The thing is, I want to burn from my fat reserves. That's where you're getting your energy. If you keep eating all the time, you never have a chance to tap into the fat reserve.
No.
You never have a chance to have autophagy kick in. I want that ketosis, the ketones, to start working.
Right.
So I'll throw in my black coffee in the morning, maybe some MCT oil. You know, and that helps speed up the ketosis right there.
Yes.
Is it technically a pure fast? Maybe not necessarily, but it works for me.
Yeah.
What is MCT oil?
It's a coconut oil.
Coconut, yeah.
And I'll put like a
coconut.
little
Okay.
tablespoon organic in with my black coffee in the morning, and it keeps me satiated a lot longer.
Yeah.
Along with the Celtic salt.
Oh, right.
You know, in the water.
Right.
That's
Those
key.
minerals, yeah.
And during the course of the day, if I find myself, a little bit tired, I'll throw some more salt
Yeah.
in the body, which is salt is our friend.
Yeah.
The right salt.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't want to get the
Yeah.
stuff that's in the
Not
box
the table
foods
salt.
and all
No.
or the table
No,
salt.
God.
Yeah. You gotta
I go to a restaurant, I stay away from that salt.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
My son just discovered that he feels so much better waking up and drinking water with fresh lemon and like Himalayan pink salt.
Yep, same thing,
Like,
Himalayan or Celtic
is
salt, either
that-
way. Yeah.
Is there a difference between Himalayan and the Celtic?
They're
So-
both excellent.
Yeah, I heard the Celtic salt is the way to go.
Yep.
You got to
Okay.
source it from the right places, so you got to do your
Exactly.
research. A lot of the
Absolutely.
Himalayan salt that has that pink, it's been
It's-
colored and it comes from
Oh,
different places.
got
Get the
it.
dyes, which are
Okay.
not good for you.
Exactly.
Got it.
So
Okay.
there's a couple of good sources. If you go to like what we were talking about, Edge of the Woods or
Yes,
Time and
yes,
Season,
yeah.
some of the Ion in Middletown.
I go to Foodworks in Guilford.
Oh,
and
there
I
you
get
go.
my-
Yeah.
Great spot.
Yeah.
Great spot.
All right. I'm going to
Probably
look for
get
the
some good
Celtic
stuff.
salt. I'm glad you said that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you're affiliate. What do I call that? With a wellness company. You and your wife.
Yeah, my wife and I are marketing reps. It's the largest online wellness shopping club in North America, and everything is made there at Idaho Falls.
Let
They
me
use the
tell you
best possible
something.
ingredients on the planet.
I had one today. The
Yeah.
protein bars. I've never had a protein bar like this.
Mm.
And I'm very fussy about my protein bars.
Oh, I
mean,
know.
I think I've tasted them all. And you're the company that you're affiliated with. I bought Protein X, I believe it's
Yes.
called.
Mm-hmm.
I eat that when I know pretty much I'm not going to be eating most of the day.
Right.
And I'm going to have a tough day or a long day. It's so filling.
Yeah, it is.
I feel
It is.
so good when
Right.
I eat that. I have to order more. I think I just ate the last one today.
And we try to make the best choices that we
Yeah.
can. Like I would tell people, we're not the perfect company. You know, you could find fault in a lot of things, but it's the best of the choices I've made with the company. Because I mean, we try to get the best possible products in our body. It's not just what you eat; it's what you surround yourself in your house. Make sure you get the best cleaning products. Make sure you put, the best shampoos and all this kind of stuff, skincare line.
That we're
That's really
breathing
important.
in.
Yeah.
That's right.
When
Yeah.
people find out, or I talk about veganism, a lot of times you think like, oh, high and mighty, vegans are perfect. That's never the case.
Right.
We're just trying our best. When I speak for myself, right? I can't speak for everybody, but I'm trying my best to give myself the proper nutrition, avoid toxins, avoid any kind of anything that's going to resonate with me in a negative light. So whether it's the suffering that comes with that, or whether it's just the right
Right.
nutrients, macro and micro.
Right.
And like I say a lot of too, I'm not a perfectionist either. I mean,
No.
I live basically by the 85, 90, 10 rule.
Yeah.
If once in a while I want to go off and I want to have that ice cream, I'm going to have it, right?
Yeah.
If I want to have that cheesecake at the wedding reception I'm dealing, or a cupcake, I'm going to have it and not feel guilty about it
Yeah.
because I know that I'm going to be fasting the next day and my body's going to burn it. This is not like it's part of my normal routine.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Right. It's not like the person who may be maybe heavy, and all of a sudden they eat that one healthy meal, that salad. They think all of a sudden they're going to look like whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you deny yourself, it makes you have a craving for it. If you feel like you're really depriving
I
yourself.
love sweets. I admit I love them.
I'm a chocolate fan.
Me too.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
And Joyce. Oh my.
Okay.
Oh
Get those bars out.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, the bars that I make, it has
Yeah.
raspberry in it, so that's
right.
not chocolate. But there are some chocolate in there.
Okay.
You can't go wrong with anything she makes is going to be good.
I bet.
Yeah.
I just like, I get more satisfaction out of making something than eating it, actually.
Well, every time I bring stuff home from my bride,
Yeah.
I hate Joyce. I love Joyce. I hate Joyce. I love Joyce. But she loves you more than hates you.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So everyone needs to find out, like, what they want to do. Like, what decision do you want to make? I know a lot of people have a hard time losing weight, and they want to eat healthy, and they honestly don't know how. I mean, I've had people say that to me so many times in my practice. Like they don't even know where to begin, and also they may have other people living in their house where they're not eating that way, and they are buying a lot of the
Processed foods.
yeah. So I guess just take baby steps and
Yeah. There's some different tenets you can live by: fresh, ripe, raw, organic, seasonal, local, right? Those are six words right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Those
good.
are six
That's
that you
good.
can kind of pay attention to. And then when you're shopping or when you're preparing a meal, like how many of those can you check off?
Right.
If you can check off half or more, you're looking pretty good. And if every time you make a meal, you try to add a little more to it in that realm, I think you'd be in good shape.
And the thing is, anybody watching right now, too, Joyce, I mean, we'd be more than happy to help with advice. We have your contact information.
Absolutely.
yes,
From different ways, from a vegan, a vegetarian, from a person who does kind of keto, whatever works for you, because there is no right or wrong way. It's what's best for you, no judgment. What's best for you, but at least you're doing something. A lot of people say they want to do something, but they don't know where to start. There's so much conflicting information out there. If you put 10 nutritionists in a room, they'll have 10 different ways of doing it.
listen. All you have to do is go online and click on one thing,
Uh-huh.
and you have a barrage
You get
of
bombarded.
different companies coming, and then you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really is. Even for me, it's like, oh, that looks good. And then I do a deep dive on the company and I'll read the reviews, but then it's just too much. It's too overwhelming.
Yeah.
Or you go to the vitamin department, which I love the vitamin department at Edge of the Woods because they have a knowledgeable team there. So you're not just standing there, maybe like at a GNC,
Yeah.
just like, what do I do? Someone will come along and help you. And even doctors recommend going to a store like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have somebody with some experience and then they've been dealing with other customers that might have similar
Similar,
questions,
Right.
and they
yes.
already have the answer.
And if you don't have the answer, admit it to people. I'm the first person to say, I don't know, but I will get the answer for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you maintain that credibility. It's not like you're trying to sell them something or do something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Don't you find that once you have a desire to do something, that it just shows up also?
Yeah.
Right?
Now we're talking about
Manifestation.
attracting it, bringing it
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, it's attraction.
That's
Yeah.
our language.
Mhm. Yeah, it starts with your thought and your intention, and then that will lead to feeling and action, and
Right.
it just, you can pull things into your vortex real fast.
Yeah, you can.
Mm-hmm.
The laws of the universe. That's why it's so important to speak faith over your life, speak faith over yourself, speak faith over people. You know, don't not say, I can't do this. Well, how can you do this? Oh, I have to go to my job. No, you get to go to your job.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
gratitude. Gratitude is riches.
Mm-hmm.
And say, I am healthy.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am wealthy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
I am a masterpiece, and it's not arrogance. We all
Right.
are masterpieces.
Yeah.
We're all created as masterpieces, and we are.
Yeah.
You know.
I can hear my son saying right now, yeah, you're a masterpiece, okay?
Yeah, my wife too. He's watching right now.
Give him the book. Say, I am enough.
I
Exactly.
am enough,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, my wife would
Yes,
say, "Yeah,
go
you're enough,
online.
all right."
Yeah. I've had enough.
You get that every now and then too.
Every now and then I get it. Yeah.
Right.
You're
I
too
just
much.
wanted to ask you, do you cook? I mean, you're cooking also.
Yeah.
Because I see that when you're with your son.
Mhm.
And
Yep, I
Yes.
try to keep him in the kitchen to see what I'm doing. Sometimes I'll have him be my sous chef. Other times I just let him
Nice.
chill, and I enjoy, catering to him and catering to my wife. So,
Right.
And what's your wife's name?
Chrissy.
Hey, Chrissy. Yeah.
Hi,
Got
Chrissy.
yourself a good one here, Chrissy.
Yes.
Use it, right, Atlas? Hey, Atlas. You know.
Yeah, now she gets to hear it from some other person besides me, right?
All about third person edification,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, but no, I really enjoy catering to them and trying to get the best ingredients and making sure they're happy and satisfied and enjoy the experience, because food is something we've all been bonding around forever.
Yes.
It has a big emotional and psychological component to it.
Yep.
And I think that's why a lot of people fall into some traps, because they think about what grandma's apple pie, when they were feeling bad and they had that with the ice cream. And now all of a sudden, when
Yes,
every time they
yes.
feel bad,
Right.
what's in the back of their mind? Pie and ice cream.
Association.
So we got to try to change that a little bit, maybe use some healthier ingredients, some healthier meals
Right.
to try to attach to the emotional piece. And then using fasting to totally disconnect from all of it and say,
Yes.
what do I really need?
Right.
You
Because right now I'm in the process. Right now I'm on my 24th hour right now of fasting,
let's go.
and I'll break it probably after about 28.
Mhm.
But it's just a really good feeling. Like you said, I feel more and more clear-headed. And Joyce, you were saying you feel really good on that third day with the 72-hour. You have all that energy. That's when I'm going to have you come over to the house and clean.
Yeah.
You're going to come over to my house.
Yeah.
We're going to watch you.
There's a lot of wisdom to
Joyce is coming over with her mop.
Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom in eating once a day. And when I first heard that, I thought it was kind of crazy. And
Yeah.
now I kind of do it just by default. It's just the way my schedule works.
Yes.
And then there's also some people that would say like eating once every other day is even better. Now, some people will go once a week. And you might think, like, how does somebody
You
do
could
that?
do it. You could.
But they say if you can do that, you'll never be sick ever.
Right.
As long as you're
because-
hydrating. Yes. it's
So
just-
so that's with the Celtic salt
Yeah.
and
Yep.
water, making sure it gets into the cells.
Sure.
Right?
Now,
A lot of
maybe-
people are drinking just water from the tap,
Right.
Yep.
and it's
Right.
flushing ourselves out and taking away all the
And I
minerals.
mean, I'm not going to go that pure. I mean, black coffee. I'm going to have my black organic coffee.
Yeah.
To do that, or tea
Mm-hmm.
of that nature. That's
And
fine.
then the enjoyment part of it too, because like I think we might have said this, we're only here for a short period of time,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
you want to
Yes.
enjoy the ride.
yeah.
Yes.
And if the coffee is something that you look forward to and has you do better in the world, like
Right.
double up.
Right. Exactly. And believe me, I do.
Oh yeah. I mean, whatever makes you feel better. I mean, do it. But quite honestly, sometimes you don't need the whole piece of cake or the whole, cupcake.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of bites, and if you take a break,
Mm.
it's satisfying.
I'll speak for
Yeah.
It
yourself,
really
Joyce.
is.
We're getting real
I'm
here.
just saying.
I'm having the whole
just
cupcake or
saying.
two.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but sometimes that sugar rush for
Yeah,
me,
I
I
know,
can
I
feel
know.
it. Like right.
You pay
right
for it
away.
later on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
We could go on forever, but thank you so much for being with
You're
us
welcome.
today.
It's been really
Kahseim.
a privilege, an honor. I've had a lot of fun. And
And if someone wanted you to come to their home to talk about yoga, talk
Mm-hmm.
about even helping the family get on track with eating.
yeah, you
I mean,
can reach out to me on any of the social medias. It's all Kahseim Outlaw on social media.
Okay.
My website is KahseimOutlaw.com, so you can check that out too. I've got to update it a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's there as a calling card.
Well, Kahseim, you've
Perfect.
been an absolute blessing. I just love
Yeah.
the joy you exude. I love the way you walk into a room. You just light it right up,
I
man.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
I really do.
Thank you.
And best to Chrissy and best to Atlas. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of What's Good with John and Joyce, available on all streaming platforms. Tell a friend about us. We're the safe place to land. No negativity, no politics, just uplifting, inspirational. And this was a lot of fun having you back again. And best to you and your family. And Joyce, always enjoy hanging out with you.
Always enjoy hanging out with you.
And Stefania and Dave in the background out there doing work for us. We appreciate all of them, because the behind the scenes people are the ones who really do make this thing happen. We appreciate them. Till next time, bless you and your family.
Bye for now.
Bye. Hey, I heard you got engaged. Congratulations. Now it's time to book the DJ. And that's where we come in. Hi, I'm John Cadillac Seville with John Seville Entertainment, Wedding Wire, and the Knot 2026 Couples Choice Awards winner. You can call me directly if you like at 203-988-0658. We'll set up your free consultation. Or go to johncaddyman.com. That's 203-988-0658 or johncaddyman.com. We offer excellence, peace of mind, and a great time for all. John Seville Entertainment, a name you know and can trust.